okay, like a lot of us do. So here's what your federal government did last year. We all know this. Get rid of trillions, right? If your federal government were a family of 4 living in Schaumburg, here's what your federal government did last year. That family of 4 in Schaumburg spent $37,000 last year. They spent $37,000. They had a rough year. The family of 4 in Schaumburg, they only made about $23,000 last year. So that family of 4, I mean, imagine a family having to do this. They make 23 grand, and yet they spend 37,000. I don't know how that family of 4 in Schaumburg lives. But the tickler is, it's not the end of the story. That family of 4 living in Schaumburg that made 22 grand, spent 37 grand, has an outstanding credit card debt of $150,000. An outstanding credit card debt of $150,000. That is your federal government right now.
How do you fix that problem? If it was a person, like my family, I would say, well, declare bankruptcy and I can't do it. That's realism.
So what does our government do? Our government borrows more. Our government borrows $4-point-something billion every day. Our government borrows this cup of Joe, let's say this cup of Joe is an hour long. Our government borrowed $140 million this hour. No, 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 hear me. Did not spend $140 million. This hour that we had this cup of Joe, your government spent more than $140 million. I'm saying your government, because we borrow 42 cents of every dollar we spend. Your government borrowed $140 million during this cup of Joe. Now,
So that means they spent about $250 million.
It'd be more than that. Well, yeah, I'm not good with math. I should never say that on tape.
Well, I'll tell you.
Hey, cut that. No, so, and again,
It's better than let's on.
polls have typically said this whole thing of the debt and the deficit doesn't resonate as much as jobs in the economy, and jobs in the economy are issue number 1. But it's different this year. Polls are showing that finally America has understood this isn't sustainable, which is why I don't mind driving around and saying to you, whether you're 80, 60, 50, or 40, we have to grow up. We can't do this to our kids. Do you really want a life? Pick a year, the year 2030, you got your grandson out there who's got a nice job making 150 grand a year in the year 2030, making 150, but that grandson of yours is giving the government about 130 of it to pay for what we didn't have the courage to do now. Shame on us. Shame on us. And that's why last night I tried so hard to be good and controlled, because you know I get wound up sometimes. But I wanted to turn to Miss Duckworth and say, we can't do this. You know that, right? Get beyond your talking points. I don't care what they told you to say. This isn't right. And young people who believe in government, they gotta get this. This is their bill. This is their bill. We're doing this to them. What's her name?
Josie.
Josie? That's beautiful. We're doing this to Josie. She has no clue. Right now, Josie has no idea that there's a $53,000 weight on her head. Oh my God, Josie. Josie, hey everybody, right now, in this room, turn to Josie and say, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, Josie. That's terrible. That's terrible. And this isn't just, look guys, President Obama doesn't get it, that's my opinion. It's not just Obama that created this. Republicans and Democrats for years have built up this thing. Why? Let's go back to where we started. I want to get reelected. That's all they want. And so I'm going to keep giving you things. You want this knife? It costs $100 million. I don't care. Take the knife. Take it. Be good. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'll give you this saucer and cup. 100 billion. It doesn't matter. I don't care if your kids don't like it. Doesn't matter. That's what we've done year after year. And it's time smile to say, we gotta grow up. We do.
Just tax the rich, Joe. Just tax the rich.
Why is it that if I offer you $10,000 to vote for something, I get arrested for bribery? But you give me something like that to vote for you, and it's not bribery. It's legal.
You know what?
It's crazy.
But why have politicians over the years just assumed if I promise you and give you things, you'll vote for me? Well, let's be honest, guys. Hasn't it sort of worked? Hasn't it? Remember, we started Medicare and Medicaid in the 60s to be a safety net for those in need? Bum, 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 bum. We've strolled down the road 50 years later. It's Medicare for everybody. Who let it get that way? Did we question it? No, we all wanted ours. It's so easy to blame the politicians, and believe me, they need to be hit over the head. But we helped get us here. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll blame them. The reason we have such a big, vast difference between is you don't want the government running your health care. Yet on the other hand, when private industry is running our health care, we were all saying something's got to give. They won't. I have a pre-existing condition. I can't get I can't even get a cold taken care of. I fall and break my hip, and then we don't want to have everybody help pay for it because we know the only way it's going to work is everybody has to pay into it. And we say, go to the emergency room. Well, who's paying for it in the emergency room? So the government has got to be involved in these decisions on how to solve the crisis that we're in. And it doesn't seem like either side wants to give in to the other side and say we need to come up with a solution that's going to work.
It's a wonderful point, and I agree with you. I think what we're fighting about, and again, I don't know, there may be a few members of Congress that say no government involvement in healthcare. That's not me. Government needs to play a role. We argue about how big that role is. I don't want us ever to get over here where government runs all of our health care. It will sink the country, and the quality of our health care will be horrific. I don't want us to get over here where government has no involvement. Somehow we got to figure out what the answer is. I guess what I'd say is we're moving quickly this way, and we better have a conversation because it's getting real serious. For people who, and I gave Tammy Duckworth a shout out last night because she's on record as saying, I believe in government run healthcare. She wants to be over here. I respect the fact that she said that because I believe that's where the president wants to take us. I don't think he's ready to say it yet. We got to have a real honest.
He's evolving.
Hold on. We got to have a real honest debate because the answer is somewhere here in the middle. 10,000 of us are retiring every day. That is and by the way, that number is going up. Here's the other number that's going up. One more point. The average person on Medicare right now, we always hear this, and it's true. I paid into it. I paid into it. You did. But the average person on Medicare right now, paid about $115,000 over their work life into Medicare. That same person, over the course of their Medicare life, is getting $350,000 back in care.
Well, what
Hold
about
on,
interest?
hold on. So right now that differential is 3 to 1. That number is going up every year. This is a time bomb. And none of us, nobody in this debate, you and me, because we probably disagree on this issue, nobody in this debate is a bad guy. This is a time bomb that's going to sink this country. And I don't want to hear anybody say we can solve our problems by taxing the rich or coming home from Afghanistan or getting rid of oil subsidies, even if I agree with 2 of those 3. Come home from Afghanistan tomorrow, get rid of subsidies for oil companies. None of that will solve this time bomb, which is going to sink this country under the weight of its debt. Until we talk about, it's really simple, health care costs for our aging population. That's the big enchilada, guys, and that's what scares politicians. Yeah. Yeah, and then, yeah.
But going back to his comment about what do you do when you personalize it and bring it back to your own budget within your own household. What do you do when your spending is a lot more than what your income is? What I would not do is go to my boss, demand a raise, and increase spending, which is basically what our government is doing.
Well, typically, if you're out of whack, if you are spending $37,000 a year and you're making 22, unless you can find a job tomorrow to make a lot more than 22, and that's difficult, most of us turn to spending and say, how can we cut back? And that's not always to do, and a lot of us struggle to do that. That's not easy. But that tends to be where we look because it's our money. The difference with Washington is, and I'll say this again, this is one thing I've become convinced of, and it makes me sick. I have yet to meet a Democrat in Washington who does not believe it's your money. They believe it's theirs. Before I just get unfairly on Democrats, let me say, there are way too many Republicans that do the same thing. So it's really easy for them to keep borrowing and spending and taxing you because they really don't think it's your money. So when it comes to health care, hey,
I have to go because of health care.
how are you doing?
I have health insurance.
Be well, guys. Yes, ma'am.
First of all, kudos to you on respectfully handling yourself in the debate last night. I too took exception to Ms. Duckworth's comment about the crackpot ideas of the Tea Party.
You are a crackpot.
I am.
Did you see their
And secondly, Joe, my big concern, not only with the way things are, is how do conservatives fight the bias of the mainstream media?
You know what you do? How do conservatives fight the media? And let's be honest, we're all big boys and girls. Even our liberal friends will admit this. Most people in the media are liberal. They love Obama, they want to elect Democrats. Big deal. We know that is what it is. So all you do is you just say it. I call them out all the time. I go on their stations a lot and I fight with them. And that's fine. You call them out and you don't be afraid of it. That's the best thing we can do. And you can't whine about it. Don't whine about it, and don't get discouraged by it. Just call them out and fight them on it. The comment last night about crackpot was a big deal because she basically said these ideas of limited government and fiscal responsibility are crackpot ideas. So she wasn't just talking about some movement. She was saying, you're crackpot, these people are crackpot, and these ideas are crackpot ideas. Oh my God, let's have 1 million stickers throughout the district, buttons throughout the district.
That's right. Yes.
And that's, yeah.
My wife has known that for 32 years with
My
that.
brother made me aware of a book by Saul Lindsay called Rules for Radicals. And basically has a Rule 16 that basically says if we want to win an election, we want to make a point. You find an issue, you focus on it, you personalize it, you polarize it. And Tammy Duckworth did that a lot in the election, in the debate last night, and I think it's interesting. I never looked at political discussions along this way before, but I'll give you an example. An issue of paying for not abortions but funding contraceptives. It's like, that's an issue that if you believe strongly in contraceptives, you basically say, well, if Joe's against it, then basically that's a reason not to vote for it. And you could see through 10 different issues that Tammy debated last night, different things that she was trying to point to. But I did like the fact that the biggest issue for me is jobs and the debt in the economy. And I like the fact that you stuck to your gun, but I was bothered by the fact that in the past I would never realize that what Tammy was doing was basically picking all these issues to basically find enough people to say, well, I'm not going to vote for Joe for those reasons. Just like I hear a lot that people don't vote for Republicans because they don't care about people.
Well, I'm going to make 2 points. And it's not going to be with the debate. But the bigger point, it's worse than that. This is why this election is going to get ugly. Because Duckworth is just doing